Welcome to the Living Well, Living Rich podcast. So I want you to imagine waking up tomorrow morning, stumbling into your bathroom and, just looking into the mirror like you always do.
Right, the classic morning routine.
Exactly. But instead of showing your tired eyes or bedhead or, I don't know, that new wrinkle forming on your forehead.
Oh, I know those too well.
Right. But imagine the glass just completely erases your physical face. And instead, it shows you this vivid, replayable montage of the exact impact you had on the people around you yesterday.
Wow. That is a wild concept.
Yeah, it would show the tension leaving a coworker's shoulders because of a quiet word of encouragement you offered, or the profound sense of safety you provided to a friend just by sitting with them.
That would be incredibly powerful.
That really would. And our deep dive today is actually a mission to uncover the mechanics of a story that does exactly that.
Yes, we are pulling apart this newly published 2026 book, and it's titled The Rose and the Mirror.
And on the surface, it totally masquerades as a simple, gentle fable about a flower.
Right, it looks like a children's book at first glance.
Exactly. But underneath, it operates almost like a masterclass in cognitive behavioral therapy. It basically dismantles how we perceive our own worth. And it challenges these destructive metrics we use to measure our lives.
And honestly, the contrast between the accessibility of the narrative and the sheer density of its psychological implications is what makes this source material so compelling.
Totally.
Because we spend so much of our cognitive energy locked in this state of deficit assessment,
Oh, definitely. We use literal and metaphorical mirrors in our lives to just constantly catalog where we are falling short.
Exactly. And this book, it forces a complete structural reevaluation of what a mirror is actually supposed to reflect.
Yeah. And to understand how it does that, we really have to look at the environment where this story takes place.
The greenhouse.
Right. So we are introduced to a character named Rosie, and she is a pale pink rose, and her petals are described specifically as being edged with a whisper of silver.
Which is such a beautiful image.
It really is. She lives in this quiet glass greenhouse tucked behind an old stone cottage. Visually, it sounds like paradise.
Absolute perfection.
The source material actually notes that golden sunlight pours through the glass every morning, and it turns the dew on the leaves into thousands of tiny diamonds. So it is objectively a setting of immense beauty and serenity.
Yet Rosie's internal reality is entirely divorced from that objective beauty.
Yeah, it's so sad.
She wakes up every single dawn trembling with this repetitive, intrusive thought. She literally tells herself, I'm just a plain rose, there's nothing special about me.
Oh, that breaks my heart.
Right. She is existing in a state of total abundance, yet her brain is completely overriding all those sensory inputs to manufacture a state of profound lack.
Which is crazy. Why does the brain do that? It feels almost like a glitch in our operating system.
It does feel like a glitch.
Because, you can have the silver edge petals, the golden sunlight, the diamonds of dew, and yet your internal monologue is just this loop of telling yourself how unremarkable you are.
Well, it's an evolutionary survival mechanism, but one that misfires in modern environments.
Okay, how so?
So our brains are hardwired with a negativity bias. From an anthropological standpoint, tracking potential deficits or threats to our social standing is what kept our ancestors alive.
Oh, sure. Like you had to know who was the biggest threat.
Exactly. If you are constantly scanning your environment to see who is stronger, taller, or more capable, you understand your place in the hierarchy. You stay safe.
Okay, that makes sense.
In psychology, we call this cognitive filtering. The brain acts like a sieve. It lets all the positive data, like the sunlight or the silver edges, just slip right through.
It catches all the bad stuff.
Yep, it catches and magnifies every perceived inadequacy. So Rosie isn't broken, right? She is just running a hypervigilant scanning program.
And what she is scanning are the other flowers in this greenhouse. Like she looks around and sees these tall sunflowers that the book describes as towering like sentinels.
Right, sentinels.
And then there are the bright marigolds glowing like lanterns. Even a humble violet nearby seems to possess this secret spark. So Rosie is looking at these incredibly loud, performative traits, and she's using them as the baseline for her own existence.
And you really have to notice the specific functions of those descriptors. A sentinel implies guarding, towering, commanding attention.
Yeah, very aggressive almost.
And a lantern implies illuminating, being the absolute center of focus. Rosie is measuring her worth against traits that are biologically alien to her species.
Because she's a rose.
Exactly. She is a rose, yet she is experiencing severe distress because she is not functioning as a sentinel or a lantern.
Wow.
This is the neurobiology of upward comparison.
Yeah.
When we constantly look at the highest visible achievers in an ecosystem, it triggers a literal stress response. Cortisol floods the system.
Oh, absolutely. And we become blind to our own utility because we are just so fixated on the towering height of the sunflower. Think about what the modern equivalent of that greenhouse is for you and me. It's sitting in an open plan office or honestly just scrolling through a social media feed.
Oh, social media is the ultimate greenhouse.
Right. Everyone around you looks like a towering sunflower or a glowing lantern. You are seeing their absolute highlight reels, the massive promotion, the flawless vacation, the really charismatic presentation.
Yeah, you only see the blooms, not the dirt.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you sit there looking at your own soft petals and slender stem, and that cortisol response you mentioned just kicks in.
It's instantaneous.
You feel entirely inadequate, completely forgetting that you were never planted in that soil to be a sunflower in the first place.
And the real tragedy of that upward comparison is that it completely prevents us from cultivating our actual strengths.
How do you mean?
Well, think about it biologically. If a rose expends all its energy trying to stretch its stem to the height of a sunflower, it will snap.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It will never achieve the height, and it will destroy its own blooms in the process.
That is such a visceral image. So into this highly anxious comparative ecosystem, the book introduces a catalyst.
The mirror.
Yes. One morning, the gardener brings a long, narrow mirror into the greenhouse. He props it up against an ivy-covered wall, dusts the frame, and just leaves.
Simple as that.
Right. And the text says the glass gleams like polished water. Rosie has never seen a mirror before.
Never.
So she leans forward, blinks, and asks herself, who is that rose? She sees a pale pink and silver flower that looks exactly like her, but somehow more alive. And when she touches a petal to the glass, the reflection touches back.
This is the moment of objective confrontation.
Okay, break that down for me.
Well, the mirror completely disrupts her cognitive filtering. For the first time, she's not processing her reality through the lens of the sentinel sunflowers or the lantern marigolds.
She's just seeing herself.
Exactly. She is confronted with raw, unfiltered data about her own existence.
But her reaction is fascinating, and honestly, it's a bit heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't feel relief or joy. She feels disbelief. She assumes it's a trick.
Yeah, she actually steps backward.
Right. She's convinced there must be some other, more beautiful rose hidden in the shadows behind her that the mirror is reflecting. She literally closes her eyes and whispers, I'm nothing.
And you know, that reaction is incredibly common when dealing with deep-seated insecurity.
Really? Just rejecting it outright?
Oh, absolutely. When a person is finally presented with irrefutable evidence of their own value, the immediate knee-jerk reaction is rejection.
But why? That seems so counterintuitive.
Because accepting that reflection requires dismantling a highly protective worldview.
Wait. How is believing I'm nothing protective? That sounds like a miserable way to live.
It is miserable, but it is safe.
Safe?
Yes. If you believe you are nothing, you cannot fall any further. It creates a psychological floor.
Oh, I see.
You never have to risk trying, you never have to face the vulnerability of failing, and you never have to worry about someone taking your value away because you've already decided you don't have any.
Man, that is dark. But it makes sense.
Right. If Rosie accepts that she is a beautiful silver-edged rose, she suddenly has something to lose.
Yeah.
The cognitive dissonance is so uncomfortable that she chooses to close her eyes and retreat to the safety of I'm nothing. It is purely a defense mechanism against vulnerability.
Okay, but let me challenge the premise of this intervention entirely, though.
Sure, go ahead.
Even if she opens her eyes and accepts the reflection, isn't a mirror ultimately just bouncing back a superficial image? No, the mirror actually has a name. It is called Glimmer. And Glimmer's function is not to reflect the aesthetic. Its function is to reveal the systemic.
Exactly.
This is really the turning point of the entire narrative. Because Glimmer doesn't speak out loud, but in the silence, Rosie hears a voice in her mind, described as being soft as moonlight.
Mm-hmm.
And the mirror gives her a very specific directive. It tells her, look deeper.
Look deeper. That is the operational command to shift from aesthetic evaluation to impact evaluation.
Impact evaluation. I like that.
Because over the subsequent days, Glimmer stops showing Rosie her outward form. It begins showing her the unseen mechanics of her existence within that greenhouse.
Yeah, it shows her an exhausted bee dropping out of the air to rest quietly on her petal before continuing its work.
Right.
It shows the tired gardener kneeling by her bed, specifically to water her roots, murmuring to her as if she were a dear friend.
It's so beautiful.
And it reveals the invisible reality of her own fragrance, which the book describes as drifting through the greenhouse like a tender lullaby.
See, Glimmer is reflecting relational value. Let's look at the mechanics of the ecosystem now.
Okay, let's do it.
The sunflowers act as sentinels, a loud, visible function. The marigolds act as lanterns, a bright, performative function. But Rosie's value is entirely stabilizing. She provides a micro-environment of rest for the pollinators that keep the garden alive.
Wow, yeah.
She provides emotional grounding for the gardener who maintains the structure. She alters the literal atmosphere with a lullaby. Her value is not performative, it is infrastructural.
Infrastructural. That completely dismantles how we evaluate success, doesn't it?
Completely.
The book delivers this central realization. The beauty you seek is already within you. And it makes me think about how heavily we index our lives on what I'm going to call marigold metrics.
Marigold metrics, that is a highly accurate categorization.
Right. We measure everything by how brightly it glows from a distance. Job titles, follower counts, salary brackets, the neighborhood we live in.
Yeah.
We obsess over these marigold metrics because they are super easy for other people to see. But in doing so, we completely devalue our be-resting metrics.
Oh, I love that. Be-resting metrics.
Like, are you the person a friend calls when their life is falling apart because they know you don't judge them?
Exactly.
Do you bring a stabilizing calm to a chaotic project at work? Do you create an environment in your home that feels like a safe harbor? Those metrics don't get you a promotion or a shiny plaque, but they are the actual infrastructure that keeps the human ecosystem from collapsing.
Precisely. And society rarely throws a parade for the infrastructural stabilization you just described.
Never.
Because we lack external validation for those traits, we must develop an internal glimmer. We have to train our own cognition to recognize the unseen impact we have.
Yeah.
And in the book, Rosie finally stops trying to be a towering sunflower. She embraces her inherent silver edges, and her petals unfold as she whispers to herself, "You are special."
I love that.
She shifts her metric of success from outward height to inward depth.
And, knowing how effectively this story operates on a psychological level, the background of where it came from suddenly makes so much sense.
It really does.
Because we aren't just reading a random children's book. The author is Dr. Shu Chen-Hu.
Right.
And she holds a PhD from the University of Bristol in the UK.
Yes, she does.
But more importantly, her work, and honestly, the entire ethos of the publisher, Kokoshungsan, is rooted in a very specific real-world heritage.
Yes, the methodology of the book perfectly mirrors the methodology of its origins.
Right.
The inspiration traces back to the Yongsheng Herbal Pharmacy, which is a traditional establishment in Taiwan founded by Dr. Hao's parents, Mr. Hao Shusan and Mrs. Peng Kaifeng.
Wow.
The texts really highlight their deep embodiment of care, integrity, and learning. But the connection goes way beyond just a familial homage. It is a shared mechanistic philosophy.
Let's explore that mechanism because I think it's brilliant. If you look at allopathic or Western medicine, it often focuses on suppressing a surface symptom.
Right, exactly.
Like, you have a cough, you take a pill to stop the cough. But traditional herbal medicine operates differently. It looks at the entire systemic terrain.
Yes.
It doesn't just suppress the symptom, it aims to nourish the root cause, rebalancing the entire body from the inside out so the symptom resolves itself naturally.
And that is the exact architectural framework of the rose in the mirror.
Wow, yeah.
If Rosie had just been told, "Hey, you are pretty," that would be an allopathic approach.
Right, just putting a temporary bandage over the symptom of low self-esteem.
Exactly. But Glimmer acts as a traditional herbal remedy for the mind. It completely bypasses the surface symptom of appearance and treats the systemic root cause, which is her flawed definition of value.
Man, that is so cool. It rebalances her internal narrative.
Yes.
And that is exactly what the publisher, Kokoshungsan, is attempting to scale, I think.
Absolutely.
They are taking this traditional holistic wisdom, the idea of treating the root cause from within, and translating it into digital education and modern publishing.
Which is such a massive undertaking.
It is. And their overarching motto is so fitting. Knowledge changes destiny. Education changes the world.
And when you analyze that motto through the lens of cognitive behavioral shifts, it ceases to be a mere slogan. It becomes a literal statement of mechanics.
How so?
Well, if you can provide knowledge that shifts an individual's perspective from constant external comparison to the recognition of internal infrastructural value, You fundamentally change how that individual interacts with their family, their workplace, and their community. You change their destiny.
Wow.
And cumulatively, millions of shifted destinies fundamentally alter the world.
It is an incredibly sophisticated approach to education, honestly, masked as simple storytelling.
It really is.
If you find yourself exhausted from the relentless pursuit of marigold metrics, or if you're just interested in how traditional holistic frameworks can be applied to modern psychological challenges, examining their digital education hub at Kokoshungsan.net offers a really interesting case study.
I would highly recommend it.
It's a fascinating look at how to bridge deeply grounded ancestral wisdom with the anxieties of our modern world.
And it proves that transformative knowledge does not require dense jargon.
Oh, totally.
The most profound shifts in human consciousness often happen when complex truths are distilled into their simplest, most resonant forms.
Beautifully said. Which brings us to the core takeaway from The Rose in the Mirror.
Right.
This isn't just a reminder to be kinder to yourself. It is a structural directive to change what you are actually measuring.
Yes.
You are not inadequate simply because you aren't the loudest voice in the boardroom or the most visible person in your social circle.
Exactly.
The realization of your own unique value, your own silver edges, happens the exact moment you stop trying to tower like a sentinel and start recognizing the quiet, vital stability you provide to the ecosystem around you.
The real challenge, though, is resisting the urge to look away.
Yeah, that defensive reflex.
Right. When the reality of your positive impact is presented to you, the reflex will always be to close your eyes and claim you are nothing. You have to fight that.
You have to choose to look deeper.
Precisely.
So let's return to that morning ritual. Tomorrow, when you stumble into your bathroom and flip on the light, consider this. If a mirror like Glimmer actually hung on your wall, a mirror entirely blind to your physical appearance, designed only to reflect the unseen, deeply felt impact you had on the people around you today.
Wow.
Would you be brave enough to look into it? And perhaps the more important question, what do you think you would see?
We're climbing up so high to touch the sky. Feel the rush, the wind, it passes by. Colors swirl around like candy dreams. Life's so right, more than it seems. Hold on tight, the track is bending wide. Laughing loud with you right by my side. Every twist and turn, a burst of light, chasing rainbows in the night. We're on a rainbow coaster, flying free through the clouds and over the roaring sea. Every drop, a splash of joy so bright in our hearts, it's endless light. Loops and twirls, a magic carousel. Up and down, our secrets we must tell. Bright hues paint these memories we share. In this thrill, nothing can compare. Let's raise our hands and scream out really loud. Feel the joy, be proud, and stand out from the crowd. Every color is spark that lights our way. Ride the rainbow, come what may. Dips and dives, our spirits in